Hey everyone, it's me again, and I just recorded this video and I don't know what happened. I think I might have X'd out of it before I could save it, so I'm having to refilm this video again. But anyway, I wanted to talk to you about some books I read recently. So we're going to start off with this book I read this year, one of my favorite books this year, Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. She's one of my favorite all-time authors, and this was one of my books I was looking forward to reading the most. It came out in 1999, and it's one of my favorite books of all time. This was definitely a hard book to get through, so I would look up the warnings before reading this. This is a very quick read, but it was a very emotional, impactful. Something I love about Laurie Halse Anderson is how she's able to talk about such dark matters but still give hope. I also kind of like how she gives it open-ended endings where you can kind of imagine, what happens to the character after that. But yeah, I really love this book. It was hard to get through, but it was beautiful and well written, and I loved it. But definitely check the warning signs before reading this. Next, this is the Hereafter trilogy by Tara Hudson. These came out, I think about 10-11 years ago. So, this isn't new or anything, but I love these books. I read them when I was about 11 years old. 11 years old is when I first, really became a reader. I had always liked reading, but I didn't become, such a huge reader until when I was about 11 years old, because I would read every now and then, but it was when I was 11 where I'd be reading books all the time. I would have my mom go take me to the library all the time, and if I did get in school, she would take me to the bookstore and buy some books. And I remember picking this up and absolutely loving this. And I finally, finished this trilogy this year, because I read the first two and went years, I finally found the third, but I went years without, getting the third one, which I don't know why I waited this long. But yeah, in the third book, I don't usually get emotional when reading books, but this definitely got me emotional. But this is a definitely interesting book. I went through a phase where I loved, reading paranormal books, but this was an interesting take, because this time it was perspective of the ghost, where it was this story is about a ghost named Amelia Ashley who is in love with a living boy named Joshua, and they're kind of figuring out how to pursue the relationship, and she's trying to battle the other ghosts that are trying to harm her. It's I'm doing a terrible job explaining, but it's such a great read. I loved it, and I don't think she wrote any more books, because I looked up, because I really like this trilogy, want to see if she wrote any more, but I think these are her only books, which is a shame, because I really liked her writing. But maybe she'll write more, who knows. But yeah, I definitely love this series. I'm so glad I finally finished it after all these years, which is one of those, it's been a long time coming. I'm 21 now, so it's been over 10 years since I finally know the ending. Next is a childhood favorite series, the Vampire Kisses series, and I don't care what anyone says, I love these books so much. I love rereading them. Every time I reread them, it's I'm back to being 11 years old. A lot of people, I saw the saying how cheesy it is and all that, but I love it. It's, as the blurb says, it's a good vampire story. It's about the gore and all that. I really like how, it's kind of lighthearted and kind of like a comedy. And I really like how little short the books are. They're not long. They'll be some usually around like 108 pages long, you know, very doable. Like, you know, I read them really quick. And these series is about a goth girl named Raven who lives in Dulceville, and she's outcasted and made fun of for wearing goth clothes and for liking vampires. And when a vampire moves to town, she starts dating him. Like, basically this series of them trying to, you know, keep, like, you know, pursuing their relationship without anyone knowing Alexander. So, you know, I tried to, like, her boyfriend's name is Alexander. I should mention that. And the books are 9 books long. Like, I usually don't like long series like that, but since they're so short, it's, you know, doable and all of that. And as someone who loves, you know, wearing goth clothes, loves wearing all black, Raven was an inspiration to me. Like, and yeah, like, it's a very, you know, really nice read. It was so nice, you know, rereading it and going back, you know, like feeling like I was 11 years old again. And so, like, I would check these out just because they're so much fun. But the only critique I would necessarily have is that basically one of the big questions throughout this series was, will Alexander turn Raven into a vampire? Like, kind of like, if you don't want to listen to the spoiler, like, maybe, like, skip over this video until I put the book down. But the one thing I don't like is how all the books where, like, question is, will he turn Raven? And he does turn Raven in the final book, in the final pages. I kind of think maybe around book 7, maybe he could have turned her. And basically, maybe the last 2 books were her trying to navigate her new life as a vampire, because I always love questions, well, what happened to them after she's turned? But, you know, I still love them. I still love rereading them, and it was a great thing, you know, to reread and revisit on. And the next is one of my favorites this year, the Tantalize series by Cynthia Leitich Smith. I mentioned this in my last video, but I'm rereading this series. This is a definitely original and unique series. I love rereading this. This is basically about this girl named Quincy Morris. She's in high school trying to help her uncle run her family's restaurant, you know, something that she loves. She loves, you know, working there. And her best friend is a werewolf, and she's in love with him. And she's also had a vampire murder her friends, like, and she's trying to clear her friend's name, you know, from the murders, because everyone's looking at him because he's a werewolf. And it's like kind of like combination of like I don't know what I was gonna say, but I love this and definitely think it's worth a read. And this I also mentioned in my last video, Sorcery of Thorns. One of my favorite books this year, probably one of my favorite books of all time. I love this so much. Like, this really just took me by storm. Like, I have like little sticky notes showing my favorite parts, but yeah, I love this book so much. Like, definitely is gonna have me looking up for other Margaret Rogerson books in the future. Like, I know there's like a novella out. Like, I don't know if this is gonna remain a standalone or if that book is just like a novella or a short story. But yeah, and unfortunately I went through a really hard time when I read this book, so this helped, you know, like, help me be distracted from it. But yeah, I definitely love this book. I'm about out of time, and hopefully I can get this video uploaded. But yeah, I'll see you in another video soon. Bye.